Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test with special guest Bill Walker. I trained Bill Walker about 3 years ago as a new driver, and Bill went up to Grande Prairie, Alberta here in Canada and had a 3-year career as a driver, and now he's retired. So today what we're going to talk about is his career in retrospect and some of the advice that he can give to new drivers who are entering into the industry and perhaps considering a career in the oil fields. So we'll turn it over to Bill here and sort of get some general overviews of what his thoughts are after, what has it been, 6 months now you kind of retired?
6 months exactly, yeah. 6 months exactly I've been back in Vernon. Yeah, and that feels good.
Yeah.
That feels really good. Yeah, that was quite a deal. That was, I had a few people warn me before I went up that it wasn't anything like I was thinking it was gonna be. I think you may have been one of them talking about just driving.
Yep.
Because as I recall, I was fairly adamant that I was going to be a truck driver. And there wasn't really anything going to get in my way and stop me. And it turned out there wasn't. The only thing that got in my way was me almost.
Right.
Because if you're just thinking about going to learn how to drive a truck, you probably are thinking like I was, which was, oh, I can go do that. Yeah. That's no big deal. Yeah. I've driven a truck and an RV, and I know all about that stuff. I can do that. And yeah, it's not quite like that, especially if you're going to the oil patch, because then you're taking this newly found huge semi, yep, and sliding it sideways down the road and rally car driving and all that sort of thing, trying not to have an accident in your pants half the time. Right. So yeah, that was a real rude awakening. So don't think it's easy, because it's the toughest thing I've ever done in my life.
Right. Okay. What were some of the things that you think made it tough? Was it the long work hours? Was it physical requirements?
It was. Obviously, if you were a little younger, well, a lot younger than me, because I was older by 20 years, right, than most of the guys up in the patch. And yes, Rick, I'm overweight. You can go ahead and say it. I'm a big guy. There was a physical demand. Absolutely, there was a physical demand. The work ethic required, though, was a real shock to my system. Right. And I don't know why I didn't figure it out before I went up there. Yeah, you make a lot of money in the oil patch. We all know that. You work by the hour, right, in the oil patch. Yep. I don't know why I didn't put it together. The only way I can make a lot of money is to work a lot of hours. Yep. So yeah, there's lots of hours to work up there.
Now, the other thing you were saying that it's physically demanding. Most of the stuff you're doing when you're hauling truck in the oil field is all flat deck work, right? It's not vans.
No. We see the odd bread truck come in there, we all laugh. He's got tandem axle truck and tandem axle trailer. What could be different? And it's only about 48 feet long. What could be tough about that?
Exactly. Yeah.
But no, it's flat deck stuff. And I went up with a 6-day-old driver's license in September of 2014.
Yeah. No, I remember that. You left on Thursday and were working in Grande Prairie on Tuesday. Yeah. The next Tuesday.
I had the job on the Tuesday, Wednesday actually, and I started orientation. And on Monday, I was pulling super bees through the bush. So it was yippee-ki-yay. Here we go. So yeah, not one trailer but 2 trailers, and I hadn't hauled a loaf of bread yet. Yep. So yeah, we're going to learn, and that's sort of that's what happens when you are up there too. And I don't know about the other. I have no idea about the other aspects of trucking, because my only experience has been on the patch. But it's you either first of all, there it is, go do it. And you either do it or you die. Yeah. There's really nothing much in between.
Yeah. Well, from my own experience and listening to your experience in the patch and seeing some of the things that you did and some of the things you experienced and sort of following you on Facebook, there's no doubt that the challenges that you faced in the oil patch were way different than what I did when I was running long haul. Even doing long haul LTL into New York and Jersey, I mean, it looked like you were doing things with trucks that really shouldn't be done with trucks.
Yeah, really shouldn't be done. Yeah, boy, that's an understatement, Rick. Holy smokes. You're not really supposed to be fishtailing all the time with them things, or sliding them sideways, or purposely sliding trailers around corners so you can make it, or
chaining up every tire so you can get through mud and snow and ice and that sort of thing.
I hated chaining. And when my buddies watch this, they're going to laugh at that, because they all knew I I hated chaining.
Yeah, but I don't think you're alone in that. I think any driver in the wintertime is just, they don't want to chain up.
It's just ugly. And I mean, and it's scary because I can't imagine what it would be like on the highway, but some of those cowboys out in those back roads, just before we had what called a safety stand down there 2 months or a month and a half before I quit.
Okay, so this is safety stand down. That's when everybody comes in, everybody's off, and you have a safety meeting, and safety concerns are raised.
And it goes about 2 days.
Okay.
And it's kind of a rah-rah.
Okay.
You know, it's just wave the flag, and everybody says the only reason we're there is to make sure we're safe, and we do everything safe, and they explain all the rules to us. They explain all the rules to us. Yeah, you'll find that out when you start doing logbooks. But we probably shouldn't talk about that on here. But at any rate, safety stand. Yeah, it was great, and we come in to do that. Where was I going with this? I'm old.
Safety standards.
Yeah,
safety meters, safety stand downs. That it's not, you know, what they put down in policy and what they try to enforce is not really what happens on the field. In, you know,
there's no relation
on the front lines.
No relationship whatsoever. I laughed at our safety officer in the company there, because I did take a little ride within 6 weeks of quitting off the road into the bush.
Right.
With the old Super Bee there. And fortunately, I came out of that one pretty lucky. I only got the tractor 90 degrees to the trailers. So we're able to my buddy come along, yanked me back out. We drove it out on the road and went to town and got a new tire. But
those are the pictures you sent me where
Yeah.
So what happened there? You went around the corner. Obviously, you were going too fast, and the trailer just got away from you. It pushed you right into the ditch.
It's really kind of neat. It's a combination of things, and I've gone over this. I went over it 100 times, and it was me. I'm the only one within 10 kilometers. My buddy's 10 kilometers behind me. How do I blame anybody else, right?
Well,
it's an ice road. Yeah, well, it's an ice road. And ice roads are made out of ice. Ice can be slippery. And I didn't realize, there was a couple of things I didn't realize. One of them was, I knew that as you got closer to zero, coming from freezing,
yes,
it got slipperier.
Yes.
I didn't realize, though, that coming from 37 below to, I think it was 15 below when I went off, I thought, well, 15 below is still cold as hell, so you'd have to worry about it. Man, that stuff got so slippery. It really did. The other thing I did, I forgot to take my Jake off.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
The other thing that I did, and I couldn't help that, I was talking on the radio. It was all work related. It was to do with where I was, where somebody else was, where somebody was coming. So I wasn't even sitting there, chatting it up with my wife or anything like that. The combination of those three things, as I come up to the corner at 37 kilometers an hour, which I should have been able to sweep around there way faster than that, and take my foot off the throttle, have the Jakes kick in.
Yep.
I was a passenger.
And that's what your undoing is, because they talk about on skid pad tests that the back end locking up on a tractor trailer is far more dangerous than the steer tires locking up. So as soon as your Jake kicked in, that back end locked up, and away you went.
Yeah, I was past center. I couldn't recover.
Yeah.
And we looked at the marks afterwards, and this is the other thing, inexperience. I mean, overall inexperience. Like, we're talking about a 3-year career. I didn't have the wherewithal to go up and grab the spike. I think if I'd have grabbed the spike, I'd have saved it.
Nah, probably not.
Well,
you're talking about something that happens in an instant, right? You're distracted for one moment, and you got so much weight and so much momentum that probably not.
I don't know. I'll go with you on that one. But it was that was kind of. I was just glad I didn't wreck the truck, because if you don't have a truck to drive, you're not earning anything.
Yeah.
And I had 6 more weeks to go, and I was hammered down. I was up there that last 6 weeks when we got back up this year from the vacation, Christmas. I want to make as much money as I can.
Right.
And I did crazy good.
So when you're talking about guys working in the patch, if they want to, so a lot of these guys are going to be transient workers. They're going to go up there, they're going to work, they're going to come back home. That's sort of what a lot of guys are doing, right? Mm-hmm. They're not living up there like you did.
No, well, there's a number of people that do live up there, but yeah, there's a lot of transient as well.
Right. So if you had some advice for somebody coming out of truck driving school, or somebody who was thinking they wanted to, take this on as a career for a little while, what would be your recommendation to them?
Well, trucking is a little different up there than just about every other job, because otherwise, if you're not, like we should talk about living, if you're not living there, then you're living in the camps.
Yeah.
How did the camp get there? Oh yeah, truck took it there, and then he went home that night or somewhere else. How did the bread get there that he made toast with the next morning? Oh yeah, truck brings it in and then goes out.
Yeah.
The truckers don't get to spend a lot of time in camps, although some of those camps are pretty nice. I did get a couple of nights in some of them. But the trucker, your truck is your home.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're living in the truck.
You're living in the truck, and you're at the whim of, if you want to make money and if you want to be there, you're at the whim of the telephone.
Yeah.
I know that one night I was in the vehicle with my wife on the way to dinner when the phone rang, and I turned around and went back and got dressed and made lunches and went out to the truck.
Yeah.
That was very commonplace, that sort of thing. You're just, if you weren't working, you were waiting for the phone to ring to go to work.
Yeah.
One of the two. And if you don't go to work, how many times do you think you say no before they sort of maybe stop calling?
And they do stop calling, and that's the thing, right?
They'll stop calling.
I think that's fairly common across the board in terms of all trucking. I mean, I went back trucking a couple of years ago, and it was still like that, even long haul. Now, one of the things that was different for you, I think, in the oil patch, as opposed to when I ran long haul some years ago, is that long haul tends to be very solitary. Like, there aren't other people. You're not, especially if you're running different lanes and those types of things. I think with you in the oil patch, I think you worked with a lot of other guys on a regular basis. So there was a bit of camaraderie that was going on.
There was a lot of camaraderie, and the. I've often wondered why it was such strong camaraderie. It's such a dangerous place.
Yeah.
It's, honest to goodness, it's the most dangerous thing I've just ever been around. I couldn't believe it. They talk about the safety. And they don't want you to get hurt, I'm sure. But you know what? If it means getting the job done, I'm sure we're going to go do it. But I don't know whether it's, you got each other's back.
Yeah.
Like there's a deal. Yeah, and you know it.
Yeah.
You know your buddy's got your back, and he knows you got his, and you never know when you're going to need it.
Yeah.
Because, the side of the road, when you're running these things along with, fully loaded up at 63,000, if you're not overloaded, and you're running it this far from the ditch, and that's just, you're checking the mirrors to see where you are, because you can't really tell when you're looking over. I used to line up underneath the wind deflector on the hood, and I had a certain place I could sit, and if I lined it up, the little hole underneath, I knew where I was, and I was this far from the ditch.
Yeah.
How far away are you from screwing up? It's just waiting. It's waiting to get you. It's just waiting to get you. But yeah, there's a camaraderie up there, and a lot of it was probably more of it was short haul. You'd have an hour to 2 hours in the truck, and then you're out of the truck, and you're with the loader operator, or you're with somebody, and you're yapping with them, and you're pulling the straps off, and you're turning around, and it's like a baseball game. Those guys, they sit, and then they go like hell.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting in the truck, literally, physically, you're sitting in the truck, although there's a fair amount of mental involved in getting there. But then you get out and you sprint to get the straps off, or get them on, or get them and get out of there. And sometimes it's just because it's so freaking cold, like you just can't. I went up in September, November the 7th.
Yeah.
I'm out at the yard, and I'm just getting used to this idea that there's 24 hours in a day, you might as well use them. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm out in Wembley.
Yeah.
I'm laying under the bridge, banging on backing plates because it's 47 below. And, the brakes have a tendency to freeze up.
Yes, they do have a tendency to freeze up.
And I'm asking myself over and over again, Rick was right. What am I doing this for?
What am I doing at minus 50? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's hard to fathom that unless you're in it. Yeah, it's really hard to fathom that. That's incredible. That cold when you're dealing with it just makes you angry. Like you're cold, you're putting chains on. I had to, one of the jobs up there, some fool, can I say that? Yes, yeah, you can say that.
Yeah, some fool at some head oil company who's in charge of screwing everybody else's life, made a mandatory chain-up road. Didn't matter, you didn't need them.
Right.
You had to chain up. And we had the most dangerous place to try and chain up Well, that was the second start. No, we were actually running in there we were running in barefoot. We weren't supposed to, but we did. So the first thing you had to do when you got in there is chain up.
Yep.
And it was, I don't know what it was. It was more than 30 below. And once you get more than 30 below, it does get, I mean, 40's colder than 30 a lot, but things stop working at about 30. So you get out and chain the truck up, and you try and do that in one go, and then get back in the truck and warm your hands up while they were loading you. And then when it came time to strapping down, I still had to come back into the truck once, if not twice. It was just so, you couldn't help it.
It's bitter.
Your hands just quit working.
Yeah.
You know, I actually burnt my hand on the grip getting up into the truck one day. I didn't have gloves on. And I know it was on the minus 40. And I really thought about it, grabbed the handle, got up and got in the truck. And then a little while later, my hands sort of feel like I burnt it. And it looked like it too.
Yeah.
I ended up with a red mark right across
You probably
there.
had a bit of frostbite on your hands.
Yep.
Yeah.
Burned it that quick.
Yeah.
That was nice.
That's
I'm
crazy.
going to miss that.
I'm going to miss that.
Yeah, I'm going to miss that.
So obviously, like you said, you were unprepared. So new people who are going into the industry and taking on the oil patch and that sort of thing, they're just not, I mean, unless you go and do it, you're not going to be able to.
No.
You can't really explain it to somebody. It's like so much of trucking, right?
It's yeah, I don't know how much explaining you can do. The best thing you can do though is I think, and this is something to keep in mind, because the only reason anybody goes up there is to make money.
Yeah.
That is it, end of story. That's it.
Yeah.
You make a lot of money.
Yeah.
When you start seeing your bank account increase every 2 weeks by $5,000 net, you know, you start, ooh, I got some money. Here's the trap. And this is what 90% of them fall into.
Right.
They get up there, they get 2 paychecks. Now I got $10,000 in the bank. You know, these are people that maybe never, well, been a long time since I put that much money in the bank.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
But, well, you know, I can afford that new pickup. I'm going to go buy that new pickup. So you go buy that new pickup for, well, now anywhere up to $100,000 or so. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you make the payments on that. It's no big deal. What are they, 2, 3, 2? I don't know what the payment on that would be, but more than I want to put out. But they make it, no problem. And then you go out and you work. You know, you work for another month or two, and well, you know what? My buddy's all got a sled, because the sled's big up there. And then it just multiplies. And the next thing you know, the only hope you ever have of paying for this stuff is to work in the oil patch.
It's to keep working. Yeah.
You're trapped.
Yeah, they get trapped.
You know, and I'm proud of myself. I went up and came back with the same pickup.
Yep.
You know, and I came back with the same wife, which is that whole thing up there destroys more marriages. I think it's #1 divorce rate in Canada.
Yep.
Just you gotta keep focused.
Yeah.
You know, it's so important for a young guy. You can do so well. I mean, if you can go up there and come back with $100,000 in the bank account in a year, and if you do that for 4 or 5 years and just keep your head down, drive the same old pickup. It don't matter.
Yep.
You're not going to have time to enjoy it anyways.
Yep.
Because you're going to be working.
Yep.
And then come home.
So you got to have a plan, and you got to stick to the plan. There's got to be some focus, because like you said, a lot of these people go up there and they get trapped. They take on this massive debt load, and then there isn't anything they can do except work in the patch.
That's all they can do.
And they never get ahead.
And when the patch slows down, and
Yeah.
it does.
As it did 3 years ago.
I was so lucky. I got with the right guy, and I made the right move at the right time, and I had my best financial year of my life.
Yeah.
And that was the year it slowed down. January 15, it died. And I kept thinking, okay, this would be interesting in the spring, because you're going to see toys out for sale. And boy, was I right. Yeah, you know, and of course we're driving and we're going right to Saskatchewan and back again. So you're in all those highways, and you see all of a sudden when the snow starts to go away, which is somewhere around June, but no, maybe not quite. Out comes the RVs. Out comes the, you know, all the toys are out in the front yard for sale, and can't afford them.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you want to go up there and if you want to make some money, yeah, you can do it, and you can do it really well, but you can stay focused.
Yeah.
And you know what? As long as we're talking about stupid things, I've never seen so much drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, what do you want? I mean, it's like when you go to a restaurant, you can't even explain it.
Yeah.
But if whatever you want, it's there. It's available. It's available now.
Yeah.
No big
well,
deal.
I think that goes along with any sort of environment like that, where there's there's just not a lot of policing that goes on. It's like you were talking about the safety rules and those sorts of things. It's like this is what everybody's saying on one side, but they're not the people in the field, right? So, and it's like the drug problem. Unfortunately, there's a huge addiction problem, because I think, unfortunately, that sort of ties into what you were saying earlier about people getting trapped, right? They take on this huge debt load, and then they got to keep working, and then they're stuck, and then they get hooked on substance abuse to try and escape that.
Well, part of it's just recreation.
Yeah, part of it's recreation.
It's the same as going and buying that big old pickup.
Yeah, it's a peer pressure.
Yeah. Hey, let's get some blow tonight and get over here to. I've heard terms I didn't even know what they meant. So I'm kind of old for that, though. But that was the difference between me and an awful lot of people up there was the age difference.
Yeah. Well, and you had a plan too. And I mean, I think if you have a plan and you stick to that plan and have focus, I think you're going to do all right, right? And as you said, I would sort of posit that a lot of people don't have a plan.
Yeah, most of my life didn't have a plan, but I did this time. But that I'll tell you, truck driving is, if you're getting back to the truck driving part of it, I went up again, September. It wasn't until the following, I believe it was April, very close to May, and I was doing a little longer hauling. We were going over to Bonnyville, or Cold Lake, Alberta, and then bringing these mats back down to Grande Prairie, and it was like 8 hours each direction, something like that. So you had some time, and you're sitting there, and it was spring, and the weather was nice, and I can remember it as clear as day, just sitting back, and I'm looking around. I caught myself and I went, "Hey, I'm not scared to death." And I've actually taken a moment to glance out into the field and watch the tractors coming on there and start doing the farming, because honest to goodness, I don't think there was a day there for 6 months that I didn't fear for my life at least once a day. Right. Yeah. Well, you really were thrown into the deep end and then some plus, because like I said, I was not like that running long haul. Oh dear.
I mean, I had a few times like that in New York, but you know.
It's funny you talk about that too, and I've tried to picture myself. Would I rather be getting stupid directions going out into the bush in the middle of the night, or would I rather be dealing with New York or Chicago or those? I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that actually.
Yeah. So you're just about to take off to Mexico here.
I am. The plan was, I did accelerate it a little bit. The plan was to come back probably last month from Patch. Yeah. The people that I worked for prior to going up invited me to come back and work for them this summer, and I thought, I've had it. I've done as far as I could go with it up there. Physically, mentally, I was done. Yeah. So I took the offer. And I've put that 6 months in now, and Tuesday, my wife and I are going to be taken down to the airport here in Kelowna, and Wednesday we take off. We don't come back till next April.
Awesome. That is really great news. That's a great story, and I think that's really good information for a lot of new drivers who are thinking about going and making lots of money working in the patch and those types of things. So I'd like to thank Bill Walker for coming in and talking to us. I'll put cards up in the corner for you for the original videos that we did 3 years ago when Bill first got started after a year. You can kind of see Bill in a different light at that point, because he's still in that kind of that fear moment. So have a look at those videos as well. So thanks very much to Bill for coming in and talking to us. I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. If you like what you see here, share, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section as well. Hit that thumbs up button. Check out all the videos here on the channel if you're working towards a license or starting a career as a truck or bus driver. Lots of great information here as well. Head over to the Smart Drive Test website. More great information over there and online courses that you can purchase. I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. Thanks very much for watching. Good luck on your road test. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.
Well, here we go. About 150 kilometers north of Fort Nelson, BC. And it's Ice Road Trucker Bill heading on to an ice crossing. We are going across the river. All we need is the big voice now saying, "And now Bill will go across this river on thin ice with his 20-ton load." Hey, that's pretty cool. We're trucking.